GMGM, hope everyone's good. DeFi Sai here with our weekly Avalanche update. I'm going to talk about some exciting price action, some amazing updates to Avalanche, and also some news that might have slipped under the radar and you might not have noticed. First off, I must say that anything I say here is not financial advice, it's just my thoughts and opinion on a space that I'm passionate about and a chain that I'm passionate about, which is Avalanche. My name is DeFi Sai. I work in the blockchain space a lot, on the Avalanche in particular. I work for NF Treasure as their artist in residence. I also design and create crypto merch. So I've started this channel to create some content around that, lots of detailed deep dives, but also some updates on what's going on in the Avalanche blockchain space. So if you are interested in this, do like and subscribe and I will keep you updated. So let's have a look at what happened last week on Avalanche. So let's have a look at the overall market. So Bitcoin has just closed last week at 62,851. It's just closed this week at 69,001, which is its fourth highest weekly close ever. So that's absolutely awesome to see some big upwards movement. And hopefully this all brings eyes to the space and brings a mainstream adoption onto the space. For AVAX, it closed initially the week before at 29.17 and it's just closed this week at 28.94, which obviously is down, but it does look to have some serious price momentum behind it as we head up into the start of a new week. One other point I like to look at is if we take a quick look at the Bitcoin dominance chart, which shows how much Bitcoin is dominating versus other coins on the market. It started the week at 57.9%. It rose up to just over 59% with midweek and now looks to be dropping down a little bit. So it's going to be interesting to keep an eye on this, as what traditionally happens is once Bitcoin pumps, the money then starts flowing from Bitcoin into alts, then into meme coins. So it'll be interesting to see how soon the liquidity starts to flow into the alts and then into the memes, which is the traditional way. So it's still looking like a bit of a mixed bag across the board for a lot of the AVAX meme coins. Cox leading the way and is up, but other coins are all still looking a bit down. But like I said, traditionally, the money will flow from Bitcoin into alts and then into the meme coins. So yeah, let's keep an eye on that. So it's been a super positive week anyway on Avalanche, our price action aside. And as well as the price action, one more little thing that caught my eye was some stats on a couple of tweets from Luigi Demio. Now, Luigi Demio is the Chief Operating Officer at Avalanche. So he put out a couple of tweets just showing some stats. The first one was that transactions in the Avalanche network are pretty much doubled over the last week. And one point to also mention about this is this doesn't include any of the play off the grid transactions, which are still on testnet and which we'll talk about in much more detail later on. He also shared another stat that stablecoin market cap on Avalanche rose up by 130% year to date to 2.3 billion, which means there's a hell of a lot more capital in stables all ready to deploy into different tokens on the Avalanche blockchain, which is super positive. It's amazing to see that transactions are increasing massively, and this could all be signaling the start of what I like to call the great rotation to the red chain. So fingers crossed for that. So yeah, as I said, this week is looking super positive. Everyone seems to be feeling super bullish. I do think we can still expect some volatility in the markets, especially as we run up to the US election. But overall, sentiment seems to be very bullish for the market as a whole and the Avalanche blockchain space. So, on to last week. Now, last week's big story on Avalanche was undoubtedly the Avalanche Summit, which took place in Buenos Aires. I didn't go, but I managed to post some updates on the first 2 days of the summit. So if you do want to know any more details about what happened on the first 2 days, jump onto my channel, check them. I'll pop the links in the description. I did detailed looks at what was happening each day, who was out and about, what people were up to. Now, the biggest story from the summit was the launch of Avalanche 9000, which is essentially Avalanche's largest ever upgrade. Now, it's designed to make launching your own layer one on Avalanche both easier and cheaper, which is excellent to see. So the way that Emin described this and how it's going to work is that if you imagine in the early days of the internet, building your own website was difficult. You had to create and build your own website. You usually needed a web designer. It was a very complex process with a lot of code. Then along came platforms like WordPress and then Shopify for e-commerce sites, which made the availability of a website open to everyone. Anyone could start and launch a website using what were essentially pre-built templates. So it was much easier to do. It opened up having a website to everyone. As I said, for WordPress for a standard website, Shopify, you could build an e-commerce website. So what Avalanche are looking to do with the launch of Avalanche 9000 is open up, starting your own layer one on Avalanche to many more people. So there's hopefully going to be a lot of built-in code, a lot of smart contracts that are out of the box that you can use. So almost anyone with a pretty much basic level of tech is going to be able to spin up and launch a layer one on Avalanche, which is amazing. As I said, at the moment, or previous to Avalanche 9000, it's been a very, very costly process. You've needed to have all sorts of coding experience with Python, Rust, etc. So now it should be much easier for everyone to do. So as a guide, the previous cost of launching an Avalanche would be 2,000 AVAX per validator. Now, there was upfront cost also around 10,000 AVAX minimum for a subnet, which if you base that on the current price, let's say is an average of $30, is $300,000, which is pretty unattainable to most people. Now, after Avalanche 9000, the costings are going to be 1.3 AVAX per month for a validator, and also around 79.8 AVAX per year, which based on a $30 AVAX is roughly 2,398 per year, so much more attainable than the previous. For end users, gas fees are also set to drop by around 95%, which is going to be great to see. So overall, what this should be doing is encouraging initially more builders in Avalanche. We're going to get more layer ones, so more websites, more apps built on Avalanche. It also means that for the end users of these new apps and new products, all the people that are using these newly built layer ones, it's going to be much cheaper for them to use. Now, combine this with the Avalanche tech, which means that everything runs super fast. What that will basically mean for end users, it's cheap to use, and it's also going to be fast to use if they're using any of these new layer ones and sites built on Avalanche, which is amazing news, because I think what's good about this is that it's benefiting the end users, and it's going to help see the mass adoption of blockchain and Web3 technology, which is all going to be built on Avalanche. So, onto one such success story of a layer one that's been built. Now, gaming is a huge narrative on Avalanche. Everyone knows it's going to be a massive area focused, and it's probably what's going to be set to one of the biggest real-world adoptions of blockchain technology going forward. With Avalanche 9000 being super customizable, super fast and cheap to use, Avalanche is setting itself up as the perfect place for blockchain gaming. So it was super good to see the off-the-grid launch this week. Now, I have said before, I am not a gamer. However, the take home for me from what I see on this is that most previous Web3 blockchain games that have been built have simply not been very good. Now, what's important is that for any new products launched, they have to benefit the end user. So, for example, if you launch a new game, a gamer doesn't really care whether it's built on blockchain technology or Web3 technology and it's got the ultimate tech. What they want is a game they can log on to, play, and enjoy. It's going to be a good game to play. Now, a lot of the previous games that have been built, they just haven't really been good enough. So Play Off the Grid seems to be a bit of a step change in that it's a fantastic game to play. It's received rave reviews from both the gaming community. I know it's had an article out in Rolling Stones as well. So it's been widespread, it's got that widespread adoption, and people are enjoying playing it. So if you can grab the gamer's attention with a good game, a game they are going to want to play, they're going to play the game no matter what. And the fact that it's on Avalanche maybe might bypass them, but what that means is there's going to be a hell of a lot of new users, a hell of a lot of real world adoption, a hell of a lot of coverage that's all on Avalanche, which is absolutely excellent to see. And again, I think that's what the focus needs to be, is that these games work well. So the last update that I saw was over 7.5 million wallets had been generated by Play Off the Grid. So that's 7.5 million new users on Avalanche that were not there at the start of last week, which is amazing. So at present, this is all still on testnet, so the new wallets are not showing, but I do believe that what the plan is, hopefully, is that all of these new wallets are going to be migrated over as soon as the game launches properly, so well done to them. There was another game as well that was built on Avalanche called Pulsar, where it recently completed its transition, so that was on testnet, and it's recently completed its transition over to mainnet. And the launch of that has doubled the total transactions of every project in Avalanche combined, which is absolutely awesome to see. So again, well done for that. Now, I did share this on a tweet that you can see from Emin, who's the founder of Avalanche, and I'm not sure if anybody else noticed this. There was a very subtle detail on the bottom of this tweet. Now, I like the way that he just casually mentions that he met with President Milei. So Emin had a meeting with the actual president of Argentina. Obviously, the last conference has just been this week in Argentina. We're hosting the Avalanche Summit. And I know there's been a lot of talk from the Avalanche team about governments now becoming much more open to the use of blockchain technology. But one of the main things that was stopping them do that was the prohibitive costs. So obviously, if we've just launched Avalanche 9000, which allows much more customization and lower costs as a barrier to entry, what does that tell you? It tells me that they're speaking to governments about launching on Avalanche. So could it be that very soon, is it only a matter of time before we see an actual nation announcing that they're adopting blockchain technology and also building Avalanche? fingers crossed for that one. Another big news story from last week was that the Avalanche Foundation dropped a surprise airdrop to users of the Arena. So what's the Arena? The Arena is basically a next-gen social fi app that's redefining how creators connect, engage, and monetize their content. So it's very similar to how X works, but much more targeted at content creators. Now, this was apparently a total surprise to all, including the Arena team. The foundation said this on their tweet. They stated that we are keen to continue recognizing early users of Avalanche ecosystem projects. As such, the foundation aims to encourage participation in and support for the Avalanche ecosystem. The foundation continues to monitor, engage, and take data-driven approach in pursuing its mission statement. The foundation is the community. We are with you. More to come. So what they're basically saying on this is that being early in projects on Avalanche could be very rewarding. There could be more future surprise airdrops, which I think is super cool. It really encourages people both on-chain who are already on the Avalanche ecosystem to really participate in these new projects and reward them loyal early adopters, but also brings new eyes and therefore new liquidity over to Avalanche, which is amazing. Again, this is all part of the Arena preparing for the launch of their Arena token, which is coming up anytime soon. I think it has been delayed a few times, but should be anytime soon. And their current scheme is called the Uprising. So over the course of the campaign, it's going to run for 1 month. Any users are going to earn points on a public leaderboard. Them points are then going to translate into tokens that are going to be distributed at the end of the month-long campaign. So what they have said is that the following are good ways on how to earn points. So if you're inside the app already, you can increase trading volume, you can boost your portfolio value, and also onboard users via your unique referral link. I will pop my referral link down in the comments as well, so you can jump on and use mine. If you're outside of the app, it's all about spreading word on X, and if the official Arena account likes your post, you'll score additional points. So I'll drop my referral link on. By all means, pop a tweet out, and let's all try and get some points. I did miss the boat a little bit with the Arena, which is now looking like a bit of a ball drop from me. So I'm really concentrating on spending much more time on there. I'm going to be adding much more content on there. I'm going to be engaging more. So if you are on there, jump over and say hi, let's engage, let's connect. And the same profile as my X, which is at DeFi_Sci. And like I said, I'm really jumping on this. I'm going to be creating much more content on there. And as I work through, it would be really great to have all of you active people on the Arena jump over, say hi, and also any hints or tips that you've got for me on how best to work on the Arena, do please drop them in the comments. As like I said, I am a bit behind the curve with this, and I would love to know what the community are doing on there. One other story that come out from the summit is the location of next year's event, which is going to be in my homeland and will be in London. Amazing news. So yeah, it's super exciting. Now, I had decided and made a bit of a priority in my mind that I was going to make it my mission to attend next year's Avalanche Summit after feeling massive FOMO from the last one. So I've been working hard to do that, working very hard in the Avalanche blockchain space, been manifesting it, and it's a good thing that it's in my homeland. Although I'm currently on the other side of the world, I'm still determined to be there in person. So yeah, creating like content like this, and hopefully next year being on the ground and creating this content. Well, that pretty much concludes the main news of the week on Avalanche. This is very much a weekly overview of the announcements and updates, which there were much more of. Now, I have spoke about these in much more detail on my day 1 and day 2 videos from the Avalanche Summit, which are on my channel. Again, I will pop the links to them down in the comments. So I do create lots of content like this for both my personal brand, which I create, Soulful Collective, which I create and design crypto merch for lots of Avalanche projects. I also post regular updates on the Avalanche blockchain on what's happening. This weekly update is going to be something that I do every week. So if you want to know more about either my inspirations, how I work on the designs, the process, or the updates, also my work I do with NF Treasures, their artists in residence. I am also an Avalanche artist in residence under the Avalanche program, and we'll be launching my first NFT collection on Avalanche over the next couple of weeks. So please do like and subscribe if you want to know more on this. I'm also going to be doing much more content on how-to, so really trying to engage and onboard new users. So if there's any ideas on how content you think I should create, what you think people would like to see how-to guides on, by all means drop that in the comments. But yeah, please do like and subscribe, and we can follow on the journey. What are we expecting for the week ahead? For me personally, sentiment seems to be super bullish at the moment. as Bitcoin pushes up, again, it should see much more eyes and ears coming onto the space, etc. So yeah, I'm excited by what's going to happen this week. As I mentioned before, naturally what normally happens is the money flows into alts, then into memes. So I'm really looking forward to this week and seeing what happens. I do believe that as we see some good price action that flows down, this is the time when we'll start to see lots of announcements from projects, lots of new launches coming. Any of these partnerships that were formed at the Avalanche conference, for example, they're going to start filtering down now. One thing I have my particular eye on is the largest meme coin Avalanche, which is Cock. I know they're working on Cocknet, and the rumor is that I've heard is that it's actually ready. So Cocknet should be launching soon. As I said, I've heard that it's ready. So I am hoping to have some updates soon. I am personally a Cock holder, full disclaimer. So I'm super excited to hear the full details on what that's going to mean for Cock holders like myself. And I know there's a lot of you out there, but not just that, for the Avalanche space as a whole. As any positive moves by what is the largest meme coin on the chain are going to bring much more eyes and liquidity over there, which is positive. So yeah, anything that works for the largest meme coin on Avalanche when they launch their own layer one, with the opportunities for staking, acting as a validator, and also launching your own projects on top of their layer one is going to be absolutely amazing. So yeah, the take home from last week is that nobody's bullish enough. Number two, send the memes, and add to that something that I do say a lot. Let's bring on the great rotation to the red chain. So yeah, wishing everyone an absolutely amazing week with super positive vibes to everyone. As I said, like and subscribe, and LFG Mofo. Peace out, good vibes.